so many of you in my cell. You all just want to cuddle with me in here? I'm surprised the guards let you in. It's just so much male attention. There must be a dozen of you here. We can just cuddle in here all together, a big old prison cuddle. With the cutest prisoner here. You'll flatter me. We can use my big blanket. How did I get it? One of the guards was kind enough to give me it. He said that I looked like I needed some warmth and protection, and he couldn't give it to me, so he thought a blanket would instead. Here, let me put it out. We can all cuddle with it. Y'all sure this is okay, though? It doesn't make it gay, does it? We're just a bunch of prison homies cuddling together for warmth. 'Cause it can get really cold at night, can't it? Y'all sure? Okay, well, that's a lot of hands. Ooh, everybody hugging me. Oh, this feels so good getting so much male attention. I really like it. I think I might love it, too. It feels so good. There we go. Right here. Let's get all snuggly wuggly together. And just cuddle and sleep here in the prison cell all together. Bunch of big, strong men cuddling the smallest, weakest boy in the lot. It'll make me feel so good. Everybody's always calling me cute, but I wasn't sure if you really meant it. But now, all of you are here. Well, it's okay, you can all get my attention. Here. You put your head here, and you put your head here. Everybody can have their hand on me. We're just sweet, platonic, cuddly boys, aren't we? Oh, sorry. You're cuddly men. I'm the cuddly boy here, aren't I? You know, that's what my mom used to call me when I was a baby and growing up. She would say I'm the cuddly baby, because my brother was not very cuddly. But I always wanted to cuddle. So that's how I got that name, and it seems to have gone into adulthood. Oh, prison isn't so bad. It feels actually good to have so many men. I never got this much male attention when I was in the real world. But here, everybody seems to love me, even the guards. It's because you all think I'm precious. How did I even get into jail? You know what? I'll tell it as a bedtime story. You can listen to me tell you the story and fall asleep. Does that sound good? Well, everybody bundle up. It's a bit of a long story, and it's really late at night, so I'll tell it really quietly, so that nobody else can hear us. Okay. Let's begin. It's a long story. It all started in college. I got accepted into the biggest college in our state, and I went there in a spring semester instead of a fall. I got an apartment on campus, and it was really expensive, $700 a month, but with all the fees, it came to $800. There was barely any room at all, and I had a roommate. I got dropped off by my mother and my brother, and when they left, I was alone. I never really made friends with my, roommate. I got booked with a girl because I guess they thought I would be better fit with a girl instead of a guy. They worry about those types of things. Normally, they would prioritize the woman, but they seem to prioritize me. I remember my admissions counselor even thought I was a girl. Maybe the people at the apartment did, or maybe they thought I was a trans man. But due to that, I was really lonely. So, I started college. And I didn't have a whole lot of money. I tried to get a job, but I just couldn't. Nobody would hire me. I would apply all the time, but then that would start interrupting my study time. So I stopped looking. I had saved up a bunch of money from the last few years of working jobs, so I had enough to pay rent, but food was an issue. And so, I'm scratching my head. Oh, you. Can you try going behind the ear? That's right. Just like that. The biggest mistake I made was not accepting my aunt's money. She wanted to pay for a meal plan so I could eat, and I said no. I didn't want it because, well, my family had problems with her. My immediate family, that is. So I didn't want to accept her money. I couldn't accept the emotional burden of it. That meant I didn't have a whole lot of food. I had to spend my money carefully. But I realized if I kept eating like I was, I wouldn't be able to pay rent for the second semester. I thought maybe I could get a job over the summer, but knowing how long it took me to get my other jobs, I thought there was no way I could by that time. So, I made a bad decision. And this is eventually what led to prison. What did I do? Well, I started stealing. Not anything too major. Since it was a campus, they were less strict about security, I guess. At least when it came to the places where there was food. I couldn't go into the dining hall, because that would be way too easy to get caught. They had these places that were like convenience stores, but run by the school. So I told myself, this school has over $1 billion saved up. It doesn't matter if some hungry student starts taking food from their convenience store. The first time I went small, I went in when there was a huge crowd, and I found one that had absolutely no cameras. No cameras at all. Isn't that kind of weird? And there wasn't a whole lot of employees, so I snuck around, and I found some ramen, and I stuffed it into my purse. Yeah, I had a purse, even though I'm a boy. It's convenient. It's good to have a purse, somewhere to put all your stuff, like your makeup and your nail polish, and your wallet. I had just enough room to put the ramen in my purse, and looking around afterward, I did a motion that said, I guess there's nothing I want, and I walked out. I was so nervous walking out. Beyond the convenience store, there was cameras, not ones that looked into the convenience store, but I was still scared that someone would catch me. I went all the way out of the building, and I caught the bus, and I made it home with my little bit of ramen. I felt so bad. I had stolen. I had never committed any kind of crime before in my entire life. I even made sure to put on my seatbelt every single time I got in the car before it started moving. I was a bad boy. And then I started thinking, man, I wonder if my race has anything to do with it. I was able to get away with it, and I wonder if it was because I'm part white. And that just made me feel even more guilty. That I was able to get away with it, and that I would probably do it again. Well, I guess you'll know how that turned out, hey? After that, it started becoming a habit. I would just get so hungry. I was the lightest I ever was in my entire adult life back then. I guess that means I was fit. I'm a lot heavier now, as y'all can tell. It's because I didn't have enough food. So every now and then, I would keep going in, and the more I went and the more I succeeded, the more confident I got. I would start stealing bigger and bigger pieces of food. It started with the ramen, but then I got cereal, chocolate bars, protein bars, shakes, salads, but then I got really ballsy. I got a whole thing of sushi that was supposed to be like $13. $13! I stole a $13 food item and got away with it. Well, not entirely. You see, I got so scared of being caught that I put it in my purse in a rush, and I kind of messed up the sushi. So by the time I got home, it was all, well, not in the best condition. It was still completely edible, but it looked weird and chopped up, and overall not that pleasant at all. So, I decided I was never going to steal again. The guilt was destroying me. I just didn't eat much the rest of that semester. I was able to survive. I got down to 140 pounds, which for my height was underweight. And some bodies can handle it, but mine couldn't. I was always hungry, and I started doing really bad on my classes because all I could think about was eating. Ultimately, I ended up failing that semester in its entirety. I went back to my hometown in shame, a failed student. So I got back to my life. I tried getting a job with my mother, but it still wasn't enough. We kept struggling. The same problem kept happening even at home. Struggling to eat, struggling to pay rent. And I was tempted. I thought, we're literally going to be homeless if we don't pay our rent, but we can't pay our rent because we need food. So, I decided to do something big. I went to a grocery store and got a whole thing of groceries, soups, salads, breads, candy, fruit, and lots of protein like meat. I was going to be clever about it. I had been shopping at that grocery store for a very, very long time, you see, and we like to collect the bags for trash, you know? So I secretly brought in a whole bunch of the bags, and I went into the bathroom and I bagged all the stuff. One by one, I put the soup and the bread and the fruits and the salad and the meat, and then I emerged. I even saved a receipt from the last time, so if anybody questioned me, I could show them it. I didn't think they would look at all the details of it. So, I started going through the exit. And all seemed fine. Nobody was looking at me suspiciously at all. But then I got to the actual exit, right at the rim. And a security guard stopped me. I know it couldn't have been more than a few seconds, but it felt like an eternity as he stared me down. All the guilt just kept flooding my veins. I didn't know what to do. I was caught. His mouth opened, but I didn't hear what he had to say, because I bolted. I went into the traffic, bringing the cart with me. All of that food, I couldn't let it go. I was so hungry, and my family was so hungry that I just had to. I didn't even dare to look behind me. And it seemed I would have gotten away with it. I made it all the way to the edge until I toppled over. I had forgotten about the magnets at the edge of the property that stopped the cart. Because of how fast I was going, the inertia caught up with me, and I slammed and I dropped everything. There were broken eggs, tossed up salads, sewn bread, mashed potatoes that weren't mashed at first. So my first thought was to pick up what I can and run, but I was in such a state of shock, the security guard, as well as a few others, caught up to me. The man restrained me. It turned out he was just going to tell me that my shoes were untied. It was so much food that they didn't let me off. They called the police. They had everything on camera. I was charged with high-degree theft. Turned out I had taken almost $3,000 worth of food and destroyed it. They wouldn't let that slide, despite having nothing on my record. But I deserved it. My mother was devastated, of course. And my brother, it was almost like he expected it. I guess he had always seen the darker sides of my personality. There was a court hearing, as you can imagine. About a month later, they sent me here. And that's where I've been. That's the story of how I got arrested. Oh. Both of you are asleep. Was my story really that boring? No? You who are awake, what do you think? Did I deserve to go to jail? What am I asking? Of course you think I don't. I think I'm too innocent. That's why everybody protects me here. And I guess I should be thankful. I know y'all protect me from the less savory types of prisoners. the ones that want to do bad things to me. All of you just protect me, and that's really sweet. Why are you crying? You just feel bad for me? I'm a criminal. I don't deserve that sympathy. I did a really bad thing. The thing is, I had a credit card that I never used that had money on it. I could have just gotten myself in debt and paid for the groceries, but I didn't. I just really didn't want to get into even further debt after I failed college. You just think I'm too innocent to be in jail? Oh, thank you, I guess. There's so many of you here. I guess you all feel bad, don't you? At least those that were able to stay up. I guess we can all go to sleep now. I feel nice and warm. Really good, too. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Y'all have made my prison stay better than anyone's in the entire world. Even a business mogul's. And with that, good night, everybody. For those still awake, go to patreon.com/Boiwifey for the full version. Now for a special announcement.